Fever splits from Christie's side as Caitlin Clark becomes the star of the show.
Fever have fired head coach Christie Sides after just 2 seasons. Indy went 20-20 this season, making the playoffs for the first time since the 2016 season and Caitlin Clark's first year as a pro.
After being dismissed by the Indiana Fever, Christie goes completely crazy. This is the least surprising incident of the season, and in all honesty, she deserves worse.
Christie Sides has been fired. She is out as the Indiana Fever coach.
With a talent like Caitlin Clark on the team, how could she have never considered defending her players? Clark was subjected to such severe physical abuse on the floor that she thought about quitting the WNBA completely.
Time at least. It sounds like the Indiana Fever, they've made other changes as well, but they think that moving on from Christie Sides is probably the best.
The Indiana Fever now have an opportunity to add a leader who is genuinely capable of making the correct decisions and creating a secure, encouraging environment where the squad can realize its full potential.
This is a new beginning. It's a new start. And, I think it's...
This coach was supposed to lead the Indiana Fever, but with her 33-47 record, she turned mediocrity into an art form during her 2 years in charge. Other than letting Caitlin Clark, the rookie star carrying the team, get tossed around like she was in a rugby match, she wasn't just asleep at the wheel. She was practically in a coma. The Fever barely received any notice thanks to Caitlin Clark's incredible 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists per game.
No, Caitlin Clark reminds me a lot of Steph Curry mixed with Larry Bird with the branding of Michael Jordan.
Let's examine Sides' strategic brilliance, or lack thereof, while Clark was out there making headlines, shattering records, and preventing supporters from leaving. Yes, the same Celeste Taylor, who won the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year award and was selected with the 15th overall choice. The last time I checked, business decisions in sports were supposed to improve the team, not leave it with a defense that looked like a sieve cutting one of the best defenders on a team that desperately needed defensive help. Teams like the Seattle Storm had a field day dropping 30 points on the Fever in just 1 quarter strategy number. It was just pure incompetence. Taylor barely got 3.2 minutes per game before teams decided she was disposable. The backlash from fans and analysts was overwhelming.
Got an all-world talent, and it felt like the coach was holding back Caitlin Clark. The Indiana Fever fired.
Let's examine Sides' strategic brilliance, or lack thereof, while Clark was out there making headlines, shattering records, and preventing supporters from leaving. Yes, the same Celeste Taylor who won the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year award and was selected with the 15th overall choice. The last time I checked, business decisions in sports were supposed to improve the team, not leave it with a defense that looked like a sieve cutting one of the best defenders on a team that desperately needed defensive help. Teams like the Seattle Storm had a field day dropping 30 points on the Fever in just 1 quarter strategy number. It was just pure incompetence. Taylor barely got 3.2 minutes per game before teams decided she was disposable. The backlash from fans and analysts was overwhelming.
Basketball at the end of the day, that's never going to change. I'm never going to lose that. I feel like I'm getting hammered.
She might as well have been a spectator watching Clark get hammered out there like physicality was part of her twisted coaching manual. A coach's job is to protect their players and push back against officials when things get out of control to make sure their star isn't being brutalized on the court. Unless you're really out of your league, you don't let your best player absorb hits like that without intervening.
You get my point. Respectfully make it happen. There's, of course, Cheryl Miller. Her name is coming up as well. This guy says, I know some people are surprised.
You understand what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying, so please make it happen. COR Cheryl Miller's name is coming up, and this guy says, I know some people are surprised.
Nonsensical substitutions at all the wrong times. Benching, leaving Caitlin Clark on the bench too long. Playing shoddy defense. Christie Sides, I'm going to be honest, feels like a really, really good junior high basketball coach. I just think that's where she is. Maybe she could, I'm sure, coach at a lower level, a smaller high school, 2 or 3A maybe. But
speaking of being out of her league, let's talk about her in-game adjustments, or rather, her total lack of them. The Fever would crumble in the fourth quarter due to defensive breakdowns, constant foul trouble, and opponents' three-pointers. It was like clockwork every game, the same problems, the same story. Remember that disaster against the Chicago Sky? The Fever was a mess, but did Sides do anything? No. She just stood there looking lost while her team's communication problems, which she admitted to them.
She had her shot, but just couldn't get her players to play defense.
She had a player like Clark who could shoot threes from the parking lot and tally up assists with Aaliyah, but Sides seemed more like an excited spectator than a head coach. Boston as if it were her day job, but did she take advantage of its number? She pretended that Clark's extraordinary talent and chemistry with Boston were merely coincidental. Instance, Clark set up Boston 37 times for scoring plays, 6 times more than any other teammate, but the team somehow failed to realize how to use this synergy to create a unified offense. As if that weren't enough, the way the teams handled injured players like Damiris Dant was absolutely heartbreaking. Dantas needed to ease back into the game, but there was no clear plan, no seamless reintroduction to the team's rhythm, just Sid's typical turmoil. She had no strategic vision, no roadmap, just a jumble of bad decisions. It makes sense that by the time they went off against the Chicago Sky, the Fever's flow was as smooth as a traffic congestion. It was like watching a horror movie. Defensive collapses, the Sky essentially got a free pass, while Sides sat there utterly unsure of how to react due to a lack of communication and not a single change to halt the assault.
First coach to take you to the playoffs and you sack her. Better believe it. She's gone. Thank you for your service, Christie Sides. Very excited for what's next. The team is going to be unstoppable.
Not overlook the complete failure to defend Clark. This rookie was receiving hard fouls left and right, as if the referees were viewing her through a blurry lens, and the one person who ought to have been yelling from the sidelines to call out officials defending her player was nowhere to be found. Clark had to. Unrelenting physicality that went unchecked, and Sides were unwilling to speak up. Coaches are supposed to defend their players by pushing back when things get tough, but no one left Clark to stand up for herself, as if they expected her to shoulder the entire burden and put up with the harsh treatment without even raising an eyebrow from her supposed leader.
You smelt this coming, GM change. You really did. You felt like this could be on the horizon. This was the correct decision. Does that mean we're going to see Stephanie White?
Not to mention her incredible ability to make in-game adjustments. Like the game entered the fourth quarter, the defense would just disintegrate, with fouls piling up, opponents winning three-pointers like if they were practice shots. We watched it happen game after game, but Sides was in her own world. She could have tried a timeout or any other fresh strategy to stabilize the squad, but she just continued to make the same mistakes. Stakes was hoping for different outcomes, as if acknowledging that there were communication problems was the answer in and of itself. Christie, thanks on identifying the issue, but how about resolving it?
The horrible coaching job that Christie Sides must have done during the game. And yeah, that's what would happen. She would bleep up a game and they would lose in a game that they would blow a huge lead.
The team was desperate for a leader who could actually elevate Clark's talent, nurture her potential, and create a winning strategy. Instead, they got Christie Sides, a coach who didn't recognize her star's value, mishandled the roster like it was her first time seeing a basket, and missed every opportunity to create something remarkable. The only surprise is that it took this long for the Indiana Fever to push forward. And now that Sides is gone, they can finally start looking for someone who actually knows what.
Christie Sides maybe wasn't the right fit if this indeed is a move to activate and get more from Caitlin Clark, then Stephanie White is likely at the top of the list.
Okay, we'll keep a lookout for that name.
Clark is like lightning on the court. She plays with electricity and star power that doesn't just fill seats, but also makes people care about the Fever once more. This has an unprecedented impact on ticket sales and viewership. She alone made the Fever a must-watch team, echoing the league-shaking influence that legends like Becky Hammon brought to the game.